So this is back to sort of our beginning. So can I go to it? Yeah. All right. The upside of being diagnosed. A diagnosis is a naming of something going on. Usually a person can tell when something is not right with them. Usually, but not always. I want to write about both scenarios, but first I'm addressing you if you know something is wrong. Some people choose to put their attention somewhere else and carry on with their lives. Others have symptoms come on that take over and force attention to be put on the problem. Whether or not you are in the attempting to ignore phase or in the paying attention phase, it is time for a diagnosis. There are countless fairy tales, stories, and mythology from the beginning of time that show us the importance of knowing a name can have. From Rumpelstiltskin to Ursula Le Guin's Earthsea trilogy, stories tell us that a name has power. A diagnosis of what's going on is only naming what already exists and can be the most empowering of experiences. Before Andy was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, we were pretty lost in confusion, guilt, and sometimes shame. Something was very wrong and we had no idea how to proceed. It felt like life was ending. I write in Your Wildest Dreams, a Parkinson's love story. This was a difficult time riddled with confused feelings. Our lives were compromised when our inability to conduct life the way it used to be became our everyday experience. Normality was unattainable, and the orderliness of our life was severely disrupted. A diagnosis empowers the patient and their loved ones with choices and understanding, just like in regular life. A diagnosis is a new beginning and often can be the beginning of something better. In Andy's case, I wrote in my book, we discovered that he could be whole and healthy and also have a disease. The apparent disparate conditions were not mutually exclusive after all. This took us a long while to learn, and his diagnosis was the very beginning of that revelation. This next one is called, Are We Screwed Without a Team? Well, sort of, but it's possible for everyone to have a team. Andy and I have been told numerous times how lucky we are to have each other. This is often said in reference to Andy's Parkinson's and the challenges we face because of that. Our doctors shared some of their frustration dealing with Parkinson's patients who don't have partners. We learned that patients that aren't capable of reliably following directions regarding medication or best practices for safety are sometimes overlooked. This is simply a natural consequence. There isn't time to handhold a few when others with a team are able to handle the doctor's orders. How can people who don't have a partner or willing adult children or extended family find a team? Norman Cousins shares in his book Anatomy of an Illness that at his diagnosis of an incurable disease, he decided that, quote, some experts don't really know enough to make a pronouncement of doom on a human being. If they were believed, it might be the beginning of the end. A team for someone with an illness usually begins with a doctor. It is important to expand from that. I'd had to ask people to be part of my team, which wasn't easy. Fortunately, most were enthusiastic and willing, but asking for help is always risky. I mean, someone will probably say no. A health team can include health practitioners, alternative medicine doctors, neighbors, friends, family, and people in support groups. The only qualification I have for a team member is that they want the best for us. If you are alone and are facing an illness or disease, start thinking about who makes you feel better when you're around them. Educate yourself about alternative treatments and support treatments for your condition, and ask for free initial consultations and interviews with practitioners in your area. Be transparent about what you're looking for. There are 7.5 billion people presently on our planet, and among them exists the team that will be just right for you to call on to help you through challenging times. And nobody gets a team without asking. There isn't a person alive who thrives all by themselves, and this is even more accurate when one is sick. When we are sick, we are used to submitting to that and staying home and being by ourselves so as not to infect others with bacteria and viruses. And that makes sense. But we still need a team, and here's why. Let's listen to English poet John Donne when he writes, no man is an island entire of itself. Every man is a piece of the continent, a part of the mean. Humans are social beings, and we need interaction with each other to learn who to trust and who might help us, and that our strength and power become amplified when interacting with others. We have sayings like, alone we can do so little, together we can do so much, by Helen Keller. Charles Darwin said, it is the long history of humankind and animal kind too, that those who learn to collaborate and improvise most effectively have prevailed. And then there is the pre-15th century phrase, and my personal favorite, 2 heads are better than 1. When living with illness and disease, having a team makes sense. When Andy got sick, our team needs came into focus. Of course, I was his first teammate. When it became obvious that he needed more than I could do, we branched out. Andy continues to have his medical team and his personal team. The medical team consists of his doctors and alternative healthcare providers, like his acupuncturist, massage therapist, and counselor, and he can call on any of these people as his needs arise. His personal team includes people willing to be in his life as friends, but also as helpers, and that team changes as his needs and abilities change. When he was entirely disabled for 7 years, his personal team consisted of family and neighbors willing to come over and feed him. Now he was recovered enough to feed himself, and his team is filled with exercise classmates, Marco Polo video chat friends, and family who make a point of being in touch. If you think about it, you've probably been on many teams in the name of friendship. When we get sick, we need to be able to ask people for the help we need and to be willing to help those in need. Asking is hard,